If you've just received your UCAT score, you're probably wondering what now? And if you haven't received your UCAT score yet, for those of you who are watching, then just watch this video afterwards. It's not much use if you watch it now, and I think you should just be really focused on completing the UCAT. But if you have set your UCAT and received your score, because they do come out pretty quickly, then congratulations, first off. This congratulations applies to everyone regardless of your score, because it is a genuinely stressful test because of the prep that goes into it, and because of how short it is. You only get one opportunity as well. But of course, you would have scored in different score ranges, in score ranges you were happy with and score ranges you weren't. But regardless of all those different scores, the question now becomes, where to from here? Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Darren, and I'm a third-year medical student studying at Monash University here in Melbourne, Australia. UCAT testing period is well underway, and I have students and people I know who are about to undertake the UCAT test. There are kind of two interesting points with the results side of the UCAT. The first point is that you receive your results really soon after the test. So my results actually came out a couple hours after I sat the test. So I sat the test in the morning, the results came out I think early to mid-afternoon. You may receive your results 1 to 2 days after, but the main point is that you receive it really soon after you see your test, which I think is a good thing because it does kind of guide you a little bit in terms of your options and in terms of the rest of the year, how that will roll out as well. Just a little bit, and I'll go into that a bit later. The second interesting point about the results of the UCAT is that they come out in July or August or whenever you sit your test, and you still have half a year to go. So if you're aiming for medicine, particularly Monash medicine, the UCAT is an equal weighting as your end of year exam results. And so you may have done well, you may have done badly, but regardless, you sort of had this really important test in the middle of the year. You had this result, which makes you feel a certain type of way. But then you also have half the year to go for this other assessment, which is equally as important and is actually a more sustained and longer period of time as well. As a result, it can be quite difficult managing your emotions and your mindset in the few days to weeks after the UCAT. Today's video will be split into 3 parts. Ideally, you watch the part that relates to you. In the first section, it is aimed towards those of you who scored really well, who either achieved your goal scores or exceeded them. The second section is for those of you who achieved murkier scores, maybe scores that you weren't happy with, but don't necessarily close any doors for you either. And the third section is for those of you who are just disappointed and not very happy with your UCAT score. Enjoy. If you did well on the UCAT and achieved a score that you're super happy with, then congrats. You kind of have school assessments earlier in the year, but I think that the UCAT is that first make or break assessment, where it directly contributes to your chances of entering into medicine. And if you perform poorly or weren't so happy with your result, you have to wait another year before sitting it again. So the score is really nice, but I also think that the process is one that you can really learn from as well. Because the fact you scored highly reflects the idea that your way of studying, your way of managing your time, your way of managing pressure are ways that work and strategies that you can take with you for the rest of the year and for future assessments as well. So park the UCAT score in the back of your head and good work. And now go and steadily smash out the rest of your assessments and the rest of the year as well. If you achieved a murkier score and one that you're a bit iffy about, there may be 2 reasons for this. The first reason is that objectively the score is quite a normal one. So it's not exceptional, but it also doesn't close any doors in terms of receiving interview offers later in the year. The second reason is that you may be feeling a bit more towards the score because of how well you performed in your mocks. And I've had people ask me about this. So you kind of have this dissonance between your mocks where you scored really, really highly, and now you have your actual exam score, which is not really, really high, even though it's objectively not too bad. Now, there are 2 things I would say to this. The first thing I would say is that you shouldn't really think about your mock scores once you've received your exam scores. So the mock scores are really useful in your preparation process to see how you're going, to see whether you're actually improving, and to look at which subtests and which areas you're weak in. But your mock exam scores should not be used as a guide and should not be used to contextualize how you feel about your actual exam score. So it shouldn't dictate how happy or sad you feel about it. The second thing I would say is that it's really cool to get a 3,200, 3,300 really nice sounding UCAT score, but the real goal that you have the goal that you have is to enter into medicine. And scoring really highly and having a really cool UCAT score can be part of that, but it doesn't have to be. And now you've received your score and it's not a really sweet sounding one, and that's okay. You still have your options open. It hasn't closed any doors, and you still have half a year to go with your year 12 results and whatever other exams and assessments you have as well. So from now onwards, I think it'd be useful to have a look at your UCAT preparation process and see little improvements you can take on board with you for the rest of the year. So maybe you wanted to prepare a little earlier. Maybe you let one poor subtest performance affect your entire exam performance, or maybe you didn't refine your strategies in the little areas as much as you wanted to. So take those lessons with you, as well as this feeling of limbo that you have at the moment, and just go and excel for the rest of the year. This final part is for those of you who scored poorly in the UCAT. Either you kind of knew things weren't going so well during the exam, or you received the score and you went, oh. And it sucks. It's meant to be upsetting because it's something you worked hard for and it's something you really wanted to do well in. But as something I've said ever since I started the channel, before a SAC, I'd put so much effort into it. I'd bet everything on it and put like an extraordinary amount of time and dedication towards it. Afterwards, if it went well, great. If it didn't go well, I wouldn't dwell on it. I just move on to the next SAC. I would see what I can learn, what went wrong. Was my prep in the wrong direction? Did I panic in the middle of the SAC? And how can I fix that? And whenever I've learned that, I move on straight to the next SAC, because dwelling does absolutely nothing to help you with your preparation for the next one. So I think that's really important, being able to shift modes, shift from English to English language to specialist maths mode, and not really being too concerned with how you performed on the last one, because you really just have to move on, because you can't let one performance affect your other ones. The only thing worse than a poor performance is letting a poor performance affect your other performances as well. And you still have half a year to go. You still have your year 12 and school assessments to go. And so you also want to be focusing on those when the time is right. And so it's fine to be upset now, but I also don't want to see you sad in a couple months' time. So take some time for the emotions to sit with you, to simmer for a bit. And when you're ready, have a think about what's next. What's next in terms of medicine? Where are you going to go to improve your chances of studying medicine in the future? And also what's next in terms of your other assessments as well. And here it is important that you reflect on your performance and your preparation for the UCAT and really try and vocalize what went wrong and what you're going to change from here on out. So the UCAT's done, that score is set. And so later down the line, whether you look back on this UCAT score as an indelible failure or as something that was really terrible in the moment, but hey, I learned from it, I improved from it, is all up to you. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's video. I hope you've enjoyed and found helpful the 1/3 of the video that you watched. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, enjoy the starts to term 3, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.